Let me start by saying this. Every single person in this room has something inside of them, a vision, a goal, a dream that keeps tapping them on the shoulder late at night when the world gets quiet. And most people think the first step to making that dream real is to tell everybody about it. They think if they say it out loud, it becomes official. But let me educate you on something life has taught many of us the hard way. Not everyone you tell your plans to is rooting for you. Some people doubt because they can't see it. Some people criticize because they never had the courage to try. And some people smiling right in your face will pour just enough negativity on your dream to make you question yourself. That's why today we're talking about the power of silence, the wisdom of moving in quiet, and why sometimes the smartest thing you can do for your future is to keep your plans and your dreams to yourself until results make the announcement for you. This isn't about fear. This is about focus. This is about protecting what you're building until it's strong enough to stand on its own. Your dreams are fragile before they are fulfilled, and that's something most people don't understand until life teaches them the lesson the hard way. When a dream is brand new, it's like a seed you just placed in the ground. You don't dig it back up every day to show people you planted something. You cover it. You protect it. You water it quietly, because at that stage, too much exposure can kill it before it ever has a chance to grow. When you first discover your dream, your belief is still under construction. You haven't seen proof yet. You don't have results to lean on. All you have is hope, faith, and a vision that only you can see. That makes your dream vulnerable. And when you share something vulnerable with the wrong people, you give them the power to influence how you feel about it. One careless comment, one doubtful look, one "are you sure?" can plant seeds of fear where confidence was trying to grow. People don't always speak from bad intentions. Sometimes they speak from their own limitations. They measure your dream with their ruler, their past failures, their fears, and their lack of imagination. When they say it won't work, what they really mean is they couldn't make it work. But if you're not careful, you'll start carrying their doubts instead of your own belief. That's dangerous, especially in the early stages, because belief is the fuel that keeps you moving when nothing around you has changed yet. Silence at this stage is not weakness. It's wisdom. It allows you to develop discipline without pressure. It allows you to fail privately, learn quietly, and grow steadily. When nobody knows what you're working on, you don't feel the need to explain delays, justify setbacks, or rush progress just to prove something. You're free to move at the pace growth requires, not at the pace people expect. There's also something powerful about letting your actions mature before your words do. Talking about your dreams can sometimes give you a false sense of accomplishment. You get praise for something you haven't done yet, and your mind mistakes applause for progress. But progress is built in solitude. It's built in early mornings, late nights, and uncomfortable decisions nobody sees. Dreams need protection during this phase, not publicity. When your dream becomes strong, when it has structure, consistency, and evidence, criticism won't shake it. Doubt won't stop it. At that point, it no longer needs defending because it can stand on its own. Until then, treat your dream like something precious. Guard it. Nurture it. Grow it in silence. And remember, the world doesn't need to know what you're doing until what you've done speaks for itself. One of the hardest lessons to learn on the road to success is this: not everyone is going to clap for something they don't understand. When you share a dream that hasn't taken shape yet, you're asking people to believe in something they cannot see, feel, or relate to, and most people simply aren't built that way. Human nature tends to trust what's familiar, what's proven, and what feels safe. So when your vision stretches beyond the limits of their experience, their first reaction isn't support. It's skepticism. People judge dreams through the lens of their own limitation. If they've never started a business, they won't understand your hunger to build one. If they've never left their comfort zone, they won't grasp why staying comfortable feels like slow death to you. Their confusion often comes out as doubt, jokes, warnings, or concern. They'll say things like, be realistic, or that's risky, or why don't you just stick to what you know? What they're really saying is, I don't see myself doing this, so I can't see you doing it either. Here's where the danger lies. When you listen too closely to people who don't understand your calling, you start to second guess it. You begin to shrink your dream so it fits their comfort level. You water it down, delay it, or abandon it altogether, not because it wasn't meant for you, but because you handed it to the wrong audience. Dreams are like seeds. You don't dig them up every day to check if they're growing, and you definitely don't plant them in soil that can't support them. It's important to understand that a lack of applause doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. Sometimes it's actually confirmation that you're on a different one. History is filled with people who were doubted, laughed at, or dismissed simply because their vision arrived before the world was ready for it. If everyone understands your plan immediately, chances are it's not big enough to stretch you. Silence, in this case, is not secrecy out of fear, it's strategy. When you move quietly, you protect your belief system. You give yourself space to grow, learn, fail, adjust, and mature without unnecessary commentary. You allow your confidence to come from progress, not from approval. And when the results finally show up, understanding follows naturally. People may not clap for the idea, but they will respect the outcome. So be selective with your words and intentional with your audience. Share your dreams with people who have walked similar roads, who understand sacrifice, discipline, and patience. Everyone else doesn't need an explanation. Let them see it when it's finished. Let your success translate what your mouth never could. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. When you choose to move quietly, you are choosing to protect your focus and strengthen your discipline. Most people don't lose momentum because they lack talent or opportunity. They lose it because their attention is scattered. Every time you share your plans too early, you invite noise. Opinions start coming in from every direction. Some people mean well, others don't, but all of it pulls your mind away from the work that actually matters. Focus requires energy. Discipline requires consistency. Both are fragile when exposed to too many voices. When you speak your plans out loud before you're ready, you begin to live for reactions instead of results. You start explaining instead of executing. You start defending instead of developing. Silence removes that pressure. It gives you room to think clearly, to make mistakes privately, to adjust without feeling watched or judged. There's another lesson silence teaches you. It forces you to rely on yourself. When no one knows what you're building, you can't lean on applause for motivation. You can't depend on encouragement to keep going. You have to wake up every day and choose discipline on your own. That builds mental strength. It trains you to work even when nobody's clapping, even when nobody believes, even when there's no guarantee it will work out. That kind of discipline creates unstoppable people. Silence also sharpens your focus because it removes comparison. The moment you tell people your plans, they start measuring it against their own lives, their own limits, their own fears. And if you listen too long, you'll start measuring yourself the same way. You'll rush your process because someone else is moving faster. You'll doubt your pace because someone else seems further ahead. Silence allows you to move at the speed your purpose requires, not the speed of public opinion. Think about how many dreams have been talked out of existence, not because they were impossible, but because they were exposed too early. A seed doesn't grow faster because you dig it up every day to check on it. It grows because it's left alone in the dark, protected, undisturbed. Your focus works the same way. Your discipline grows when it's not constantly interrupted by outside commentary. Silence doesn't mean isolation. It means selectivity. It means choosing carefully who gets access to your vision. It means understanding that focus is a limited resource, and discipline is built through repetition, not conversation. When you move quietly, you conserve your energy for the work. And when the work is done, when the results show up, you won't have to explain anything. The discipline will be visible. The focus will be undeniable. And your silence will have done exactly what it was meant to do, protect the dream until it was strong enough to stand. One of the most dangerous things you can do to a dream is expose it too early to other people's opinions. Before belief is fully developed, it is fragile. It's like wet cement still forming, still soft. And when too many people walk across it with their thoughts, their doubts, and their fears, it can crack before it ever hardens. Opinions have power, especially when they come from people you respect, people you love, or people whose approval you subconsciously seek. The problem is, most people don't speak from vision. They speak from limitation. When you share your plans too soon, you invite commentary from people who are not qualified to understand where you're going. They judge your future using their past. They measure your potential using their own failures. And without even realizing it, they plant seeds of doubt. A simple sentence like "that's risky," or "people like us don't usually do that," or "you might want to have a backup plan," can quietly start eroding your confidence. What once felt possible suddenly feels heavy. What once excited you now scares you. Belief is the engine that drives persistence. When belief is strong, rejection doesn't stop you. Delays don't discourage you. Hard work doesn't feel pointless. But when belief is contaminated by too many outside opinions, motivation weakens. You begin to second guess yourself. You hesitate. You start looking for validation instead of progress. And the dream that once belonged to you slowly starts needing permission from others to exist. Here's the truth most people don't teach. Not everyone deserves access to your vision. Silence is not secrecy, it's strategy. Protecting your belief doesn't mean you're afraid of criticism. It means you understand human nature. Most people are not intentionally negative, but they are unintentionally discouraging. They want you to be safe, comfortable, and predictable because that's what feels familiar to them. Growth, however, is uncomfortable. Purpose is unfamiliar. And dreams often look foolish before they look successful. When you keep your plans to yourself, something powerful happens. Your belief gets time to mature. You start trusting your own voice instead of relying on applause. You learn to move with discipline, not excitement. And when challenges come, and they always do, you're not carrying the extra weight of other people's expectations or doubts. You're carrying only your commitment. Eventually, belief becomes unshakable. At that point, opinions lose their power. You can listen without absorbing. You can hear without bending. And when results finally show up, those same people who questioned you will ask how you did it. But by then, your belief won't need explaining because it already carried you where you needed to go. Most people never fail because they lack talent. They fail because they are waiting on permission. They are waiting on somebody to say, "I believe in you," before they believe in themselves. Let me tell you something important. Validation is not a requirement for success. Approval is optional. Clapping is optional. Understanding is optional. Your responsibility is not to be understood, it is to be committed. There will be seasons in your life where nobody sees what you see. Nobody feels what you feel. Nobody understands why you're sacrificing sleep, comfort, money, or relationships for something that hasn't shown a return yet. And if you need their approval to keep going, you'll quit early. Because the truth is, people don't validate potential, they validate results. They don't celebrate vision, they celebrate evidence. So if you're waiting on applause before you move, you'll be standing still forever. Some of the greatest accomplishments ever achieved were built in rooms where nobody was cheering. They were built in silence, doubt, and isolation. And that's not a punishment, that's preparation. Life is teaching you how to stand on your own belief without leaning on the opinions of others. Because the moment you depend on validation, you give other people control over your consistency. One negative comment can slow you down. One laugh can shake your confidence. One that'll never work can derail years of potential. You have to reach a point where your inner voice is louder than outside noise, where your belief outweighs their disbelief, where you don't need anyone to design what God placed in your spirit. The dream was given to you, not the committee. That vision came with your name on it, not everybody else's opinion attached. And the faster you understand that, the freer you become. Here's the lesson. Silence builds strength. When you stop explaining yourself, you save energy. When you stop trying to convince people, you gain focus. When you stop looking for validation, you start producing results. And results do something validation never can. They shut doubt up permanently. People who laughed at you will later ask how you did it. People who ignored you will suddenly claim they knew you were special. But none of that matters because by then you won't need their approval anyway. You'll have proof. You'll have growth. You'll have confidence that came from surviving without support. So stop checking the room before you take a step. Stop polling opinions before you make a move. Success doesn't ask for permission. It rewards persistence. And the moment you realize you don't need validation to win, you become dangerous in the best way possible. When you speak your plans too early, you don't realize how much power you're giving away. Every dream begins as a thought, and thoughts are delicate. They require energy, belief, discipline, and repetition to grow into reality. The moment you start talking about what you're going to do before you've done the work, you start leaking that energy. You start feeling accomplished just because you announced it, not because you earned it. Your mind gets tricked into thinking progress has been made, when in truth, nothing has moved yet. There's something about telling people your plans that creates a false sense of completion. You get the compliments. That's a great idea. You get the applause before the performance. And subconsciously, that applause can slow you down. It can make you comfortable. It can make you less hungry. Instead of waking up every day chasing the goal, you start protecting the image of the goal you already told people about. Now you're not building anymore, you're explaining, defending, and justifying. And then there's the opinions. Everyone has one. Some will doubt you. Some will question your timing. Some will remind you of your past failures. Even people who love you can unintentionally plant seeds of fear in your mind. They might say they're just being realistic, but realism has crushed more dreams than failure ever did. When you let those voices in too early, they begin to compete with your own belief. Focus gets divided. Confidence starts wobbling. Energy drains little by little. Silence, on the other hand, is powerful. Silence keeps your energy concentrated. It allows you to work without pressure. It gives you space to fail privately, learn quietly, and grow steadily. When nobody knows what you're building, nobody can distract you from building it. You don't owe updates. You don't owe explanations. You don't owe reassurance. All your strength goes into execution. Some of the most successful people moved in silence for years. People thought they were stuck. People underestimated them. And that was the advantage, because while others were talking, they were working. While others were posting plans, they were stacking skills. While others were seeking validation, they were developing discipline. Results have a voice of their own. They don't need announcements. They don't need defending. When results show up, explanations become unnecessary. That's when you speak not with words, but with evidence. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. Protect your energy. Guard your focus. Let your work do the talking. And let your success make the noise when the time is right. There is a powerful truth that life teaches over time, and that truth is this: results speak louder than announcements. You don't have to tell the world what you're about to do if you're serious about doing it. When you announce your plans too early, you invite noise into a space that requires clarity. You invite opinions into a process that needs discipline. And you invite pressure into a journey that should be built step by step, brick by brick. See, announcing your goals can feel good. It gives you a temporary sense of accomplishment, like you've already moved forward just because you said it out loud. But that feeling can be deceptive. Talking about success is not the same as working toward it. The world is full of people who are great announcers but poor finishers. They can tell you everything they're going to do. Yet months and years later, nothing has changed. Real growth happens when you're willing to work in silence while everyone else is making noise. Results don't need explanations. They don't need defense. They don't need validation. When you show up with evidence of progress, the same people who questioned you suddenly understand. The same people who doubted you suddenly listen. And the same people who laughed suddenly want advice. That's the power of results. They end conversations. They silence critics. They speak for you in rooms you've never entered. When you focus on producing results, instead of making announcements, your energy stays where it belongs. You stop wasting motivation trying to convince others and start investing effort into improving yourself. You learn faster. You build stronger habits. You develop resilience. And most importantly, you remove the pressure of living up to words you spoke before you were ready. Silence gives you the freedom to fail privately, learn quietly, and grow steadily. There's also a spiritual and psychological strength in letting your work introduce you. When people see consistency, discipline, and progress, they don't need a backstory. They see the evidence. They see the transformation. And that kind of credibility cannot be talked into existence. It must be earned. Every late night, every sacrifice, every setback you overcame becomes part of the message your results deliver. Understand this. Announcing plans seeks applause. Producing results commands respect. One is momentary. The other is lasting. One feeds the ego. The other builds the future. When you let your results speak, you move with confidence instead of insecurity. You stop needing approval because the proof is standing right in front of you. So work quietly. Improve consistently. Build patiently. Let the world find out when it's done, not when it's starting. Because when the results show up, they don't whisper, they speak loud enough for everyone to hear. There is a season in life when your purpose needs privacy. Before anything great ever shows up in the spotlight, it spends time in the dark, unseen, uncelebrated, and untouched by outside opinions. Think about how nature works. A seed does not announce itself when it's planted. It doesn't make noise underground. It doesn't ask for applause. It stays hidden, doing the work in silence until it's strong enough to break through the surface. Purpose works the same way. When you expose it too early, before it has roots, before it has strength, you risk damaging it. Many people make the mistake of presenting their dreams to the world while those dreams are still fragile. At that stage, purpose is sensitive. It's still learning who it is. It's still forming discipline, confidence, and consistency. When you invite too many voices into that process, especially voices that don't understand your vision, you allow doubt to seep in. Even well-meaning people can plant seeds of fear without realizing it. They may question how, when, or why, not because they're bad people, but because they're measuring your purpose with their own limitations. Purpose grows best in private because privacy allows clarity. In silence, you hear yourself better. You learn what you truly want, not what sounds impressive to others. You develop resilience without needing constant validation. You learn how to work when nobody is watching, and that's where real strength is built. Success doesn't start with applause. It starts with obedience to your calling. Day after day, when no one is cheering you on. When something is still in its becoming stage, it needs protection, not exposure. Just like a newborn needs warmth before it needs the world, your purpose needs nurturing before it needs recognition. Privacy gives you room to fail safely, to adjust, to learn, and to grow without feeling embarrassed or discouraged by outside judgment. It allows you to build confidence based on progress, not opinions. And here's the beautiful part. When purpose is ready, it doesn't need an introduction. It announces itself. Results have a way of speaking louder than words ever could. When the work is done in silence, the outcome makes noise on its own. People don't need an explanation when they see consistency, growth, and impact. They may not have believed when you were quiet, but they won't be able to deny it when it shows up. So don't rush the reveal. Let your purpose mature. Let it develop muscle. Let it learn how to stand on its own feet. There will come a time when what you've been building in private is strong enough to handle public attention. Until then, honor the quiet season. Because what's grown in silence often lasts longer, stands firmer, and shines brighter when it finally blooms.